Welcome back. So now we're going to be looking at some stock phrases we can use within our unseen poem. Hopefully we already know that what we're going to be doing is picking out smile points, and I'm going to be using the smile points there in just a second to demonstrate something to you. So basically we're writing a short essay. It doesn't have to be very long. And what we're going to be looking at using SMILE, we're going to be using SMILE along with the acronym PEAL. This isn't new to you, PEA or PEA or PE. And then here I've just got the idea of linking it to something else. That's what the L stands for. In this, link it to something else. So with our points, some of the things we can actually say. So first of all, we need to know, that all we're going to do with our opening is we're going to restructure the question. So the question from the previous paper, June 11. How do you think the speaker feels about the child and experience of learning to read, and how does the poet present the speaker's feelings? Okay, so here we're being asked about the meaning and the ideas, and here we're being asked to look at language, images, and structure. Okay, so know that that's the case. That's why I said meaning is the most important. The first part of the question is going to be doing with that, and the second part is going to be dealing with the way. Okay, so to make our points, first of all, we say the speaker feels the child is, and then try and mention 2 or 3 things. And I'm going to do one with an example of a poem I've actually read afterwards, and that his learning experience is, and then we're going to mention that because that's going to answer the first part of our question and give us some things to talk about as we go through. After that, we're going to start our essay proper. So we get a sense of, and then you can mention one of these and then back it up with a quote, and then use this indicates, it gives us a feeling of, this develops, this makes us consider, etc., etc. So for the P, you can use, build yourself up a bank of these. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, but that would be enough for 5 points. And the reason I've picked 5 is because if you write 5 well-built points, then you definitely have enough for an essay. More than enough actually for an essay, but anyway, the points are actually there. Then the evidence, you'd obviously pick out yourself, just make sure it's something short and relevant. So don't pick out, say if we're looking at the poem here, don't pick out a huge chunk like that, for example. You just want to pick out something pithy. So it's kind of like there, maybe, and even if this quote, sorry, there, that's made it the whole thing, just like there. Or even if you're going to use something like this, you might just want to kind of put who knows, and then put the ellipsis, sorry, three full stops in a row to gather the rest, because you don't want to waste time copying out large quotations from the poem. So then we move on to the analysis. I should actually put this here so you can actually make sure that's a relevant point. Evidence, analysis, and then link to. And the link to there could be structure, language, or image. Okay, so we get to linking, talking about analysis, this indicates, this gives us a feeling of, this develops, this makes us consider, this concentrates our affections on, this makes the reader feel, any of those things. But there's just some stock ones just to help build you up, if you haven't got a bank already for them. And then with our linking piece, after you've made that PEE point, you link, this is aided by, and then you're going to link to the structure. This is furthered by, link to the images, for example. This emphasis is added through use of language. This is supported by blah, 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 blah. So it's very, very simple. You just PEAL. So we'll actually have a look at this. We'll try and put a really, not a real essay together, but... not a real essay together, but just kind of show this in practice. So I'm going to imagine, here's my notes, just because they were the closest, well, the ones most recent in my history. Here's the ones for the poem Yellow Palm. So we're going to imagine it was an unseen poem, and I've kind of read through it, and these are the kind of things that I've actually picked out. So obviously I'm going to change my question. How do you think the speaker feels about the child and the experience of learning? So how do you think the poet feels about conflict? How do you think the poet feels about conflict and his experience traveling, and how does the poet present these feelings? So now I've got a new question. Okay, How do you think the poet feels about his conflict and his experience traveling, and how does the poet present these feelings? So I've got a brand new question, and I'm going to actually answer it with these. So I need to write my points, my evidence, my explanation. So the first point I'm going to write is the writer gets a sense of the, just so you can see I've got the points here. So I've got the writer got a sense of decay. He gets a sense of Baghdad's future. He gets a sense of the issues facing the people. And they're all themes, topics, ideas picked up from the poem. So you can see this. And then the alarming experience, because we've got the effect on Reba down here, is the effects of war. So we've got that as well. Sorry, I should change this. And that his travelling. So travelling has shown him. And then I can put that in there. So all of this is just going to be kind of like, it just becomes a fill the box exercise. So things about people that you don't normally see. So there's my kind of opening introduction, just kind of banking on that. Okay, straight away. Now the point, we get a sense of the, again, because I'm just going to be referencing these things here. So I'm going to be getting a sense of the state of Baghdad, Control C. Sorry, I don't know why I said Control C that. We get a sense of, I'm going to need to move these along to actually bring it back down. So we get a sense of the state of Baghdad. And then I need a quotation there. Sorry, I haven't got the poem next to me, so I'm just going to put, like, I imagine I had some evidence. And I'm going to say this comes through the reference of, this one. This is fine. This is through the image of the blood and the wall still tarnished, okay? So here's part of my analysis. I'm going to lead into it. This is part of the, that's part of my, the image is part of my evidence. And then my analysis, I'm going to be like, this indicates. And then there, I just go with whatever I want. The danger that people have suffered, and the constant, always good to mention two things when you're actually doing it, and the constant reminders they have of the war. Okay, so now I want to link this. Okay, so I'm going to take this. This is furthered by, because remember my comment is still talking about Baghdad's future. We get a sense of the state of Baghdad. So the walls and the sanctuary is my evidence, and this gives us an idea of the danger. And I'm going to pick. So this is furthered by, and I'm going to lift that, put it up here. This is furthered by, and I can actually have, here we go. So there we go. I'm going to be looking at language. This is furthered by the writer's constant use of war-like language. And obviously then again, I'm going to back that up with more evidence. All right. So that very simple but very relevant explanation, if I had the right evidence, it would make sense. And we'll look at that because we're going to look at some A-star material here in a second. So here with my point, I opened up with the point that I actually wanted to open up with. And I've got my things from PEE from here and here. And then I can put this indicates, because that was, again, something I actually wanted to build with when I'm actually making my analysis. And then I actually discuss that. And then I actually make my first link. Okay, by adding this again. Now you see that all you have to do to link it and make your essay even more complex is to add it even further. So here I've got that link. So I've said this is I've said that one. I'm going to pick this one as well. So Control C, because the more I link it, the more I develop my point, obviously the more perceptive it is, and that's ultimately what I want to be. So emphasis is added through the rhyme. Okay, feels like it should be about something cheery, but it isn't. So it's the ironic rhyme scheme actually emphasizes that. And obviously just all I would do is just mold these slightly. The right excuse concept went with this emphasis to the sadness of the city is added through. And there you see all I've done is I've taken my stock points that I've told you, and that one I've actually added. Now, for each one, I wouldn't actually go for more than 2. So that there is, obviously it's not written properly, I haven't got my quotations in it, but that there is 65 words. With my quotations and written properly, it should be about 100 words. So that really is going to be about 1/3 of your page. So if you make 3 or 4 points like that, then you're laughing. And that's why we pick out 3 things, and we mention 3 things here, so we've got a lot of things to actually play with. Remember, all you're trying to do is hit the criteria. And the criteria, that's an examiner's report, sorry. And the criteria would be to be perceptive, to talk about, to pick out things and explore them. So this definitely explores the idea by talking about more than one thing, and it actually references structure, and it references the language, because obviously we picked that out from the point we made earlier, and so that's how you kind of build a point. Now this is obviously relevant to the the section A as well, but I think section B is where more people are going to struggle. That's why I've kind of gone through this in a very laboured way, just to kind of show it. So I'm going to undo all that I've actually typed here and then put this up, just so you got those stock phrases. And if you go in with 6 or 7, then hopefully you'll be fine. So remember, in answering it, you read the poem, then pick out smile points for it between 9 and 15, and then just start structuring it with these, let's say, stock answers or stock phrases that you have, just to start building it. And remember, you're going for using smile to build strong peel points. Your point, your evidence, your analysis, and then your link to more supporting points from smile. I hope that makes sense.